Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. On a cool August morning, headlines stunned the nation. News outlets buzzed with a story that seemed almost unbelievable at first. Thousands of Americans moving to the Philippines for a better life. The words echoed across TV screens, social media feeds, and dinner tables from coast to coast. What sounded like clickbait quickly became reality. Families, retirees, and young professionals, people from all walks of life, were packing up, saying emotional goodbyes, and leaving the U.S. for good. The reasons were as varied as the people themselves, but the movement was unmistakable. This wasn't a retreat, but a hopeful journey to a new frontier for the American dream, across the Pacific. For many it was a leap of faith, a chance to start over in a place that promised something different. By summer 2025, what began as a trickle had become a steady stream. Airports bustled with departing Americans, their faces a mix of anxiety and anticipation. For decades, the world dreamed of coming to America, drawn by the promise of freedom and opportunity. The Statue of Liberty stood as a beacon for millions seeking a better life. Now, in a twist of history, Americans themselves were dreaming of leaving. The land of opportunity was no longer the final destination. It was the starting point for a new journey. Many were exhausted by political division, relentless pressure, and a sense of running in place. The daily grind, the cost of living, and the constant noise of conflict had worn them down. The Philippines, once seen as distant and unfamiliar, was now a sanctuary, a place to live with more joy and less stress. Stories poured in from every corner of the archipelago. A software engineer traded his Austin condo for a Palawan beach house, swapping traffic jams for ocean breezes and a slower pace of life. Retirees found they could live comfortably on Social Security, enjoying fresh food, friendly neighbors, and a sense of belonging they hadn't felt in years. Young families discovered real community, kids made friends easily, parents felt welcomed, and life felt less rushed, more connected. International media flocked to Manila and Cebu, eager to understand this reversal. Reporters interviewed new arrivals and locals alike, searching for the deeper story behind the headlines. Was it just about money? No. It was about culture, community, and redefining what it means to live well. Americans were drawn to a slower, more meaningful way of life, where relationships mattered more than possessions. The Philippines had become a symbol of hope for those left behind by the American system, a place where people could rediscover happiness, purpose, and peace. A new American exodus was underway, and the world was watching. As more stories emerged, it became clear this was more than a trend. It was a movement, a search for a better way to live, and a reminder that sometimes the American dream is found in the most unexpected places. In early 2025, a viral interview with former President Trump unexpectedly fueled a movement that no one saw coming. What began as a routine television appearance quickly became the catalyst for a wave of change that would ripple across continents. During the interview, Trump praised Filipinos for their remarkable resilience, tireless work ethic, and the deep, unbreakable bonds that hold their families together. He spoke admiringly of how Filipino communities supported one another, even in the face of adversity, and how their sense of togetherness created a foundation for happiness and stability. His words struck a nerve with millions of Americans who were feeling increasingly isolated, overworked, and disconnected from their own communities. The contrast was stark. While many in the U.S. struggled with burnout and loneliness, the Filipino way of life seemed to offer something they had lost. Suddenly, the Philippines was on everyone's radar, not just as a tropical vacation spot, but as a living example of a different, more connected way of life. People began to wonder, could moving there mean rediscovering joy, purpose, and community? Online searches for moving to the Philippines and learning about Filipino family values exploded overnight. Social media feeds filled with stories of expats thriving in their new homes, and curiosity quickly turned into a nationwide conversation. Expat forums and YouTube channels buzzed with questions about visas, housing, cost of living, and what daily life was really like. People shared advice, personal stories, and encouragement, building a virtual bridge between two worlds. The conversation shifted from idle curiosity to real practical planning. Families started making lists, researching neighborhoods, and reaching out to others who had already made the leap. Americans began to see the Philippines as a place where resilience, joy, and a sense of belonging were still possible. The dream of a better life started to feel within reach. Trump's comments gave voice to a growing dissatisfaction in the U.S. and pointed to a solution that resonated deeply. For many, it was the validation they needed to consider a bold new chapter. The idea took hold, A better life wasn't about accumulating more stuff, but about embracing a different mindset, one rooted in connection, gratitude, and simplicity. The spark was lit. Thousands of Americans began turning their daydreams into concrete plans, fueled by hope and a longing for something more meaningful. The migration had found its catalyst. What started as a single interview had ignited a movement, and the journey toward a new way of life had truly begun. Leaving home is never easy, but by 2025 the American dream felt out of reach for many. Skyrocketing costs made basics like housing and healthcare unaffordable. People worked longer hours for stagnant wages, buried in debt. The sense of community had faded, replaced by isolation and anxiety. Political polarization and non-stop news fueled stress and fatigue. The grind left people feeling empty, surviving, not living. Americans began to ask, is there a better way? They searched for a place where money went further and life moved at a more human pace. The Philippines, with its low cost of living and welcoming culture, became the answer. The initial draw to the Philippines was financial. Life was simply more affordable. A modest income could buy comfort, security, and even luxury. But the real appeal ran deeper, a culture of warmth, hospitality, and genuine community. Newcomers were welcomed, not just tolerated. In the Philippines, community is a daily reality, not a slogan. Work-life balance is valued. People come before productivity. The slower pace reduces stress and encourages presence. Family, respect for elders, and optimism are woven into daily life. Americans found inspiration in a culture that values relationships over material wealth. The Philippines offered both practical benefits and a richer, more connected way to live. Picture waking to birdsong and sunlight, not alarms and deadlines. Breakfast comes from the local market, fresh, affordable, and shared with neighbors who greet you by name. Rent for a spacious home is a fraction of US prices. Community is real. Neighbors invite you for coffee, share meals, and offer help. Work happens on a balcony with an ocean view, not in a cubicle. Evenings mean beach walks, open-air dinners, and laughter with friends, locals and expats alike. The pressure to always be on fades, replaced by contentment. Life is simpler, more affordable, and richer in what matters. This isn't a fantasy vacation, it's daily reality for thousands of Americans. It's a life built on connection, well-being, and genuine happiness. In the US, life often feels like a constant struggle just to keep your head above water. The pressure of endless bills, the grind of relentless work hours, and the never-ending cycle of expenses can make it feel like there's barely any room left for joy or relaxation. Many Americans find themselves caught in a loop, working overtime, sacrificing weekends, and still feeling like they're just scraping by. The pursuit of happiness, a core American ideal, is often overshadowed by the pursuit of the next paycheck. For millions, financial anxiety is a daily reality, with little left over for savings or leisure. The stress of living paycheck to paycheck can take a toll on both mental and physical health. Even in the busiest cities, social isolation is common. People are surrounded by crowds, yet meaningful connections can be rare. The fast-paced lifestyle leaves little time for building relationships or finding a sense of belonging. The culture of individualism, while empowering in some ways, can also lead to deep loneliness and a lack of support. Many face life's challenges alone, without a strong network to lean on. In the Philippines, the equation flips entirely. Lower living costs mean less financial stress, and people can focus more on living than just surviving. Everyday expenses are more manageable, and there's a sense of relief that comes from not being buried under bills. With less pressure to work long hours, people have more time to pursue their passions, hobbies, and personal growth. There's a greater emphasis on well-being, creativity, and enjoying life's simple pleasures. Money becomes a tool for living, not a source of constant anxiety. People can actually plan for the future, treat themselves, and support their loved ones without fear of financial ruin. Community is at the heart of Filipino life. Family, friends, and neighbors form a real safety net, always ready to help each other in times of need. There's a strong sense of togetherness and mutual support. Life is lived together, not alone. Meals are shared, celebrations are communal, and support is always close at hand. This sense of belonging makes daily life richer and more fulfilling. The slower pace and focus on relationships allow people to truly flourish. There's time to appreciate nature, connect with others, and savor the present moment. It's the difference between running a race with no finish line and enjoying a walk with good company. In the Philippines, life isn't just about getting ahead, it's about enjoying the journey. For many Americans, moving to the Philippines means finding not just survival, but the chance to truly thrive, embracing a life filled with connection, purpose, and genuine happiness. For single Americans, dating at home had become frustrating, fleeting connections and little commitment. In the Philippines, dating is more traditional and relationship-focused. Family values shape how relationships form. Meeting the family is part of the process. Commitment and respect are prized, creating deeper bonds. Beyond romance, expats find a new kind of family in their communities. The Filipino spirit of bayanihan, helping one another, creates instant support. Neighbors welcome newcomers, share food, and offer guidance. Tight-knit groups form, combating loneliness and building belonging. Social integration is easy, through clubs, fiestas, or daily chats at the local store. For many, the greatest wealth is found in these genuine relationships. For many Americans, the move to the Philippines is about more than money. It's about happiness. Chasing careers and possessions in the US left them stressed and unfulfilled. In the Philippines, joy is found in simple moments, fresh meals, sunsets, laughter with friends. The culture values presence and gratitude, not constant striving. Stress melts away in a slower, more supportive environment. People sleep better, smile more, and rediscover themselves. Purpose and belonging replace anxiety and emptiness. The Philippines offers not just a lower cost of living but a richer quality of life. Americans are trading survival for joyful, meaningful existence. The American migration to the Philippines asks us, what does it mean to live the good life? For decades it meant wealth and achievement. Now a new generation is redefining it. The Philippines offers affordability, community, and natural beauty, a new vision of happiness. It's not about abandoning America, but evolving the dream. Ask yourself, are you thriving or just surviving? The stories of those who moved show it's possible to choose well-being and joy. Maybe the good life you seek is waiting where the sun is warmer, the smiles are wider, and community is real.